tonight, but that's okay. Go ahead. Let's talk about the break in Steph Curry's hand. I know that's what you were interested in talking about, so go for it.
Well, Scott and Lewis, they say when it rains, it pours, and even though the storm doesn't last forever, they don't say how long the storm will last. They don't say how long the rain will stay. They don't say when it's going to go away. And it just continues to multiply for the Golden State Warriors. This began last postseason in Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals, with Kevin Durant going down with a then calf strain that was actually a partial calf tear that Kevin Durant, who's been doing a lot of interviews lately with many different media platforms, his latest today coming on ESPN First Take, an exclusive interview there. That's not where he revealed that information that I'm discussing right now, but he was on that platform today discussing many different things, and I'll get into that a little if I can before this segment is over.
Okay.
But, it started right there. Then we go to the Western Conference Finals where everything was going very smooth for the Golden State Warriors. And then we go to the NBA Finals against the Toronto Raptors earlier this year. Kevon Looney suffered a shoulder injury. Klay Thompson first suffered a hamstring injury in Game 2 of the NBA Finals. And he actually did not play in Game 3. So he believed that he was healthy enough to play in that game, but the Warriors sat him down. And it looked like they were getting back healthy for the most part. Andre Iguodala was also a little dinged up as well. So going into Game 4, they had Klay Thompson back. Kevon Looney came back. Iguodala was out there on the floor. This was a very hobbled team going into Game 5 of the NBA Finals earlier this year. And then Kevin Durant came back. And I'll use the term that I said then that I'll say right now. When I saw Kevin Durant come back and I saw him hit his first jumper in Game 5 of the NBA Finals earlier this year, I said Thanos is back, because it looked like he was not going to be stopped. Right. And when you look at how that game started with him, he had 11 points, he was a sharp shooter, and he looked perfectly fine. And then, he tried to pull off a crossover on Serge Ibaka, and that's where the inevitable happened. He let the ball go. He immediately started hobbling. He went down to the floor and immediately grabbed for his Achilles. He did the exact thing that I remember Kobe Bryant doing in 2013, ironically enough, against a younger Golden State Warriors team when they were first making their markings through the Western Conference.
Right.
I saw Kobe Bryant do the same exact thing that Kevin Durant did. And I don't like to speculate on injuries, but I knew immediately then, I said, okay, this is bad. He definitely looks like he just ruptured his Achilles. And he himself revealed that he even knew it then in that moment. And he said that when he was in the locker room, he was just trying to figure out, when can I get surgery? When can I immediately start to heal this up? Right. So, their chances took a huge hit right there. Right. Because the only reason the Toronto Raptors were ever in that series with them is because Kevin Durant could not play for the vast majority of that series. Right. Listen, Kawhi Leonard is phenomenal. And Kawhi Leonard, with Kevin Durant out, he is the best player in basketball right now. Oh, yes, yeah. I am putting him over LeBron James in that spot right now. But Kevin Durant, you saw with his injury, Scott and Lewis, he literally changed the landscape of basketball going forward, at least for the next few years, with that injury that he had.
Oh, yeah.
So, Warriors leave out of Game 5. They're able to get that win, but they're going home to Game 6. But you still have your big three, your original big three of Draymond, Klay, and Steph. And Klay in particular, who is the most underappreciated player in the NBA, and I believe that's on full display right now. And as far as I'm concerned, when Klay Thompson is clear, is healthy, and is ready to come back, the Golden State Warrior fans need to rise on their feet, and they need to give Klay Thompson a standing ovation, just to how important that man is to that team's dominance and that dynasty that they had for the past 5 years, because it really went unnoticed. You have Stephen Curry there, the greatest shooter of our lifetime, as many like to say, the two-time NBA MVP, the only unanimous MVP in NBA history. Kevin Durant arguably was the best player in the NBA during his stretch with Golden State. So Klay Thompson, he didn't really get as appreciated as he should have.
Right.
Klay Thompson gave them a fighting chance in Game 6 of those NBA Finals. And then on a play where he's going up for a dunk on a fast break, Danny Green just nudges him, and he comes down awkwardly on his knee, and then Klay was down. And it looked serious at first, but then he came back out and he shot the free throws.
Right.
And he made the free throws, and he was going back out on defense, so you're like, okay, maybe he's just fine. No, Klay was pulled out of the game, and it was later revealed that when he went back to the locker room officially, his knee started swelling up, and the Raptors will go on to win that Game 6 in those NBA Finals, their first championship in franchise history.
Right.
And just about an hour later, that breaking news came down that Klay Thompson had a torn ACL. So you had Kevon Looney, who had shoulder issues. You had Klay Thompson out with a torn ACL. Kevin Durant ruptured his Achilles. And in the summer, they would part ways with Andre Iguodala. Sean Livingston would retire. The Warriors have a bunch of players on that team now, especially young guys who nobody even knows about. And now you have Stephen Curry with a broken hand.
Right.
And we're not sure if he's going to have surgery yet. But obviously he's going to miss some time. So now the guy that's out there to rally the troops, the two guys that are out there, Draymond Green, who in my eyes is a glorified role player, and D'Angelo Russell, who is a one-dimensional guard.
Right.
He can score, but he cannot play defense. And everyone looked at the fact that he was an all-star with the Brooklyn Nets last year in the Eastern Conference. That is totally different than the West. I do not believe D'Angelo Russell was an all-star in the West, and I believe he could end up getting traded soon. And, it's just amazing how we are going from this 5-year stretch of dominance and a dynasty to Golden State looking like arguably the worst team in the NBA. Scott, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, we only have a few minutes to go, so we'll try to do the best we can. Number one, I'm still tired of the fact that Kevin Durant keeps talking, that the reason he left is because he couldn't get along with Draymond Green. Mm-hmm. Get over it. I'm so sick and tired of hearing a guy talking that where the franchise paid him good money to play there. And, yes, he got championship hardware that he didn't get in Oklahoma, number one, okay? And number two, Durant's not even playing this year. So, meanwhile, you got nothing better to do than just cotton pick and talk in a microphone and not even put the basketball in your hands. So, I am really getting sick and tired of Kevin Durant. I really am. Now, I guess the only obvious question that all of us can sit here and think about is, for all those teams that Golden State whipped, I'll bet that I'm sure how many scores are going to get run up, and what's the over-under on blowouts that the Warriors are going to have this year. And unfortunately for Steve Kerr, a guy who was smart enough never to go to New York to follow Phil Jackson, I'll tell you what, I think ownership will give him a long time, but does he want to get out before it gets even worse? We only have like 3 or 4 minutes to go. But what I might do is give you a little bit more time once we get more injury updates on Curry to continue this on Tuesday rather. How's that sound?
Well, Scott, I want to say this before we turn it over to Lewis to get his thoughts on this as well, just rather briefly. Here's why I have no issue with Kevin Durant bringing Draymond Green up as a reason that he left Golden State. Draymond Green, after Game 7 of the 2016 the NBA Finals, after Game 7 of those NBA Finals, where Draymond Green was spectacular in that game, by the way. The Warriors went on to win that game. Draymond Green probably would have ended up being the MVP of those NBA Finals. But they didn't win that game. LeBron James and Kyrie Irving were able to lead the Cavs in a 3-1 series comeback to secure Cleveland's first NBA championship and the first championship in professional sports in Northeast Ohio in 52 years. It's reported that Draymond Green was out in his car talking to Kevin Durant on the phone and was crying and was begging him to come to Golden State because they could not neutralize what Cleveland had, in particular with LeBron James, who at the time was the best player in the NBA. So you begged this man to come join your team, and now all of a sudden you're yelling not racial, but sexual obscenities at him, nasty slurs, and you're telling him, we won without you, we don't need you. You go from begging this man and crying in the car, begging him to come there, to now saying that to him. I have an issue with Draymond doing that, so I don't have an issue with Kevin Durant coming out and saying that at all.
Okay, but all I can tell you is, what that may be the case, we have like a minute and a half to go, okay, in the broadcast, okay. What I do have a problem is that every place that Kevin Durant goes, he's bad-mouthing his employer.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Xavier. Ever since his meteoric rise when Golden State really came on the scene in 2013, 2014, yeah, Draymond's kind of embraced this villain role. I guess he's the NBA's Joker, whereas Durant's kind of just like, Durant's kind of like Batman. Like, he's so good, but his personality is just so like ugh, and like it's kind of like it kind of rubs you the wrong way sometimes, the same way Bruce Wayne would. But I don't know. That's all I really have to say to it. Golden State's bad right now. I don't think anything's going to get any better this year. Maybe next year they go out and get somebody in free agency to add to Clay and Curry, and they'll look formidable next year. But I don't know, with the way that the Lakers look, it's going to be very hard for them to do anything this year.
All right, Xavier, we'll pick this topic up on Tuesday. I think we all have a lot more to say about the whole thing. But I do want to say, because I want to find out what the length of time that now you got me thinking Steph Curry is going to be on the show for. But while I have an opportunity with about a minute to go in the broadcast, I want to commend you for the job you did last night on The Real and the Rare, talking about the Martina McBride broadcast. And Lewis and I did a broadcast on the South Florida Tribune talking about the musical side. So I connected the dots with the Martina McBride to try to keep it all in perspective and keep it there. So, Xavier, I do a bit more homework. We're going to go ahead and readdress the Steph Curry situation on Tuesday, all right? Sound like a plan?
We definitely will. And let me take this time to say congratulations to Lewis on his new show, South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network as well.
Yeah,
well deserved.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, what we're going to be doing is we're going to do the music twice, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to do what you did. And that's to go ahead and come up with some different topics as well to try to get him more versatile. And this is the perfect platform to do it. So good stuff by both you guys. I love both of you guys anyways. You guys are my kids. I never had them, but you guys are the closest thing to them. So on behalf of Louis Adio Weiss, my name is Scott Morgan, Route the Motor City Madmouth, and the X-Man Xavier McKnight, saying everybody have yourself a great weekend, and we will do this again on Tuesday night here on the Sports Exchange on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care. Xavier, again, always a pleasure. A pleasure to our guests who we had on tonight. Scott, if you want to do a quick rundown quick.
We'll go through a quick rundown. We had Ryan Schoolroot, Ron Swoboda, Mel Farr, Damon Knight, Tom Shanahan, David Levin, and, of course, the X-Man Xavier McKnight. So special shout-out to Ron Swoboda. God bless. Everybody have yourself a great night, and we will do this again on Tuesday. And I guess we could just say we'll talk to you next month. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good night, everyone.